Let me tell you why church does not work for me anymore, okay? Not really, but this is what a lot of people think. See, when you first went to church, it was an emotional experience. It was like the music, the lights, the camera, action, the sound, or maybe it was this beautiful message or this perfectly worded thing from the Bible. Like, oh yeah, I really needed that. And then somehow your emotions get involved. So it went from like logical information, something enjoyable, something you hear or see or got going on around you. And then it went emotional. Like, oh, that story touched my heart. Oh, that music really hit me. Oh, the harmonies they had, that met with me so good. And then sometimes it causes tears, or causes a reaction, or sometimes you go down front and you're like, your emotions have caused now an action, and you're moving forward, or you raise your hand. You say, I'm going to pray this prayer, and Lord forgive me, and you say whatever they tell you to say, like because you want to follow along because the emotions had you going. What happens next is you go back to church again, like maybe next week or maybe a month later, whenever you go back again, the emotions aren't quite the same. And so you realize you're like, this don't feel right. Like you base your Christian experience you base your knowledge of God, not on the Bible, but on your emotions and how you feel. What's going on? It makes me feel good inside. And so I don't like this church anymore. I'm not feeling it. So I go to a bigger church. They got bigger music, better coffee, more people, more energy, more hype in the worship. Let's go. But if the emotion theirs is good for 2 or 3 weeks, you're like, oh, but then they had this slow week and it wasn't quite right. I don't like that church anymore. I'm going somewhere else. Because God meets you where you need Him the most. First, which would be your emotions, to heal your heart. Whatever illness or sickness or weakness is going on, He'll heal your heart and you'll start there. And then we'll figure out all your behaviors and your disciplines and the things, your habits, and you really got to work on. But first, it's going to start with your heart to make a change. And so that's where you met God. And that's where you want to keep meeting God. And God says, listen, this is like when you go to the gym, like you're walking on the treadmill. And if you just keep walking forever, it's going to be minimal change. You got to get in there and pump some heavy stuff. You got to move some weights around, right? And it's got to be more and more as you get bigger and stronger. But most Christians don't want to do that. They want the same huge reaction. Like when you lose 50 pounds and you're 600 pounds, you're like, whoa, this was so crazy. You lost 50 pounds. But in reality, that's not that much compared to how much you weighed before. Now, if you weigh 200 pounds and you want to lose 50 pounds, that's like 25% of your whole body. That's a huge undertaking, right? So you're going to have to do a lot more than just, I'm just going to do some walking. That's how it works in church. You get saved. You have your emotional experience. You're like, I love it. And then you realize, God's asking me to do something also. I have to serve. I have to help. I have to love others. I have to read the Bible and pray and fast and all this stuff. Like, I'm not feeling that. That's why you don't like church anymore. Because the requirements for you to have that same emotional feeling or that same, get my goosebumps, that requirement is now changed because you've already heard that song before. Now it's up to you to meet with God and grow in your knowledge, grow in your wisdom, read the Bible, understand what He's saying, and be able to serve others. So it changes from emotions that make me feel good to now it's time for you to serve. So if you're not feeling church anymore, God didn't move, God didn't change. That just means He's calling you now to serve. So where will you serve so that you can be a blessing to others to help bring them on this journey?